Are you curious about the red-hot economy and the inflation it is bringing along? Is it going to crumble the market, or will the investors fight back due to their preparedness? One way or another, Warren Buffett advises every value investor to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Before we move towards the video, make sure you press the like and subscribe button so that you don't miss any updates regarding financial freedom and stock market investing. Welcome to 5-Star Finance, the place where we teach you about financial freedom. The 21st century has been unprecedented in the inflation it has brought to the world. Some economies have managed to sustain it, while others get trapped in the midst of it. In the middle of it all, Warren Buffett warns the investing world against the brutal wave of inflation that is soon going to take over the world economy. Today, we've brought to you the word of the greatest investor of all time on how and why value investors need to prepare against their worst enemy. What is inflation and how is it related to value investors? We all know inflation as something that causes the price of all essential commodities to rise, and it can bring havoc on the people with average incomes. For example, if you are bringing a pack of beverages for $50, the same pack might cost you $80 in a worst-case scenario. It can have a huge impact on the lives of millions of people. According to Warren Buffett, inflation swindles almost everybody in the stock market landscape. With the increase of inflation comes the increase in wages. People always have money in their pockets, so they won't stop buying. But all the pressure comes down to the companies because inflation is going to have a worse effect on all the supply chains. It is going to disrupt the smooth transition of everything. Buffett also says that there is quite a lot of inflation going on than people anticipated. There will certainly be inflation coming, and all the value investors in the US are following policies that stimulate things, which stimulate businesses, and the businesses are always bound to have some inflationary consequences. And when we borrow from the rest of the world, in the case of nations, then we'll have to pay back in dollars that are worth far less than they were during the time of borrowing. This can have a whole lot of trouble to handle if the inflation scales keep on rising over time. Buffett compares the amount of taxes being paid now with the amount of taxes being paid a couple of years ago. According to the report by the US Federal Reserve Department, the taxes collected a couple of years ago amounted to $2.6 trillion. But the taxes collected now are somewhere close to $2.3 trillion or even less. This results in the shrinkage of the real value of fixed dollar investments down the road. That means all the value investors are going to see plenty when it comes to inflation. In economics, there is something that needs to be remembered. You can never do one thing. You will always say, and then what? In the US, certain policies allow more than 85% of people to acquire a check worth $1,400, and that could make a big difference. But a couple of years ago, 40% of people couldn't get $400 of cash in their hands. So when 85% of the people are getting those sums, and there are no unpleasant consequences from it, people feel better. People who are lending money don't feel that good. But it causes stocks to go up. It also causes the business to flourish and an electorate to be happy. One thing to understand is that there are consequences to everything in economics. For example, companies like Google, Apple, and Microsoft are all incredibly well established in terms of what they earn on capital. They don't require a lot of capital, but they gush out more money. That is what the monetary authorities want to be happening. This caused the economy to flourish. The best protection against inflation for all the value investors. Now, the best defense against inflation is your earning power. If you're the best teacher or the best surgeon or the best lawyer, whatever it may be, you will command a given part of other people's production of goods and services, no matter what the currency is, whether it's seashells, Reichsmarks, or dollars. So your earning power is your biggest weapon against inflation. For example, if you're the best journalist, you're honest with your profession, and you always try to give your 120%, then you are always going to get a share of the national economic pie, regardless of the value or whatever the currency may be, as measured against some earlier standard. The best protection is always working on your talents, trying to maximize your talents. This is what usually the people fail to understand. People get caught up in the macroeconomic developments and they fail to realize that it's the simple things that matter the most. If you increase your talents, they can't tax them. They can't take them away from you. If you become more useful in your activities and your profession, that is the best protection against a currency that might be declining at a rapid rate. The second best protection is a wonderful business. If you own any company, let's say you own Coca-Cola, you will always get a given portion of people's labor, 20 years from now or even 50 years from now. So it doesn't make any difference what's happening to the general price level because people will always give up 3 minutes of labor or 5 minutes of labor, whatever it may be, to enjoy some ounces of the product they like. So those are the great assets you need to have in your repertoire to fight against inflation. Your earning power first, and the wonderful businesses you own. It does not require heavy capital investment. If it did require capital investment, you might get killed in heavy inflation. With those guidelines, Buffett advises people to always invest in themselves first. before thinking about any type of capital investment, because in the end, it all comes down to what individual capability a person possesses that matters the most. With growing inflation, it becomes extremely important for every value investor to invest more intelligently. For that purpose, you need to understand the 6 stock categories that are each different to analyze. These stocks can make a big difference in your journey to fight inflation. Remember, in the end, all that matters is how you work on yourself. So get advantage by the free ebook we've provided in the comment section below and learn how to identify a wonderful business. What do you think about today's video? How are you planning to work on yourself, especially in the wake of rising inflation? What talents do you think you can maximize? Let us know about your plans in the comment section below. Subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss anything. Check out this video we handpicked for you, and we'll see you in the next one.